coffee with a cookie, milk. Let's get something else. Cinnamon. So we can pretend that we're at like a coffee shop. That's the kind of things that they put in your coffee at a coffee shop. They put like cinnamon and stuff. Ooh. Try it. It's good. So how have you been? Like, how have you really been? There's been some stuff going on, obviously. I stopped watching the news, but the news found me. So until I'm living in a cabin in the middle of the woods, I guess I'm gonna probably know what's going on. I just have to find a way to deal with that. So how are you dealing with stuff? Yeah, that's pretty much how I feel. Life is so complicated. I feel like societies just keep progressing and adding layers of complexity that don't really need to be there. The thought is that the layers of complexity make your life easier. I feel like mentally and emotionally, they're not making my life easier. And I really crave actual simplicity. And I realize that simple is not easy, but I want it. That's what's come out of the last few days. Basically, I can't handle modern society and I want to go run away and live in the woods and be a hobbit. All very normal. Let's go to the garden, shall we? Everybody's cutting their grass. I kind of want to get like a sheep just to eat all the grass, just because it seems stupid to like grow grass and it just doesn't even go towards anything. It looks the same as it did last time you were over, but without all the rain. I weeded this bed, kind of, sort of, right before you came over. Really need to go gather up some grass clippings or something and put it down. I need to put down some sort of weed protection. There is not enough time in the day. I say that knowing that the days are very long. The sun comes up at like 6. In the summer, it doesn't even set until like 10 or after 10. I don't even know. Like, the days are incredibly long. I actually need to like lay down in the middle of the day just for a little while. Yesterday I was laying down and I didn't even sleep, but I was drooling, awake drooling. It was very attractive. It was great. Hey, remember all that bok choy? I actually did eat some. I ate some of them, but I haven't pulled them all. Sometimes if you haven't figured out what you're gonna do with the abundance seems a little too abundant-y. What are these radishes that we planted? What is it? What is it? Is it growing a radish? What's down here? It's a radish, but like, what kind of radish is it? Now that we're down here and look behind you, we have two choices here. We can see this as a weedy mess, or we can choose to see it as a thriving, beautiful mess. That's kind of how I feel about my life a lot of the times. I'm trying to simplify. That's this thought that I've come back to. I want simplicity. So much so that I went and bought a planner. I feel like if I had a good planner, I can really get a hold on my life. When things feel complicated and kind of wild and maybe too much and out of control, I feel like a planner is a tangible piece that makes you think that you have some sort of control. Whether you do or do not, that's a different story. I want simplicity. I want simple food that we grew here. I want simple homeschooling, time with my kids, teaching them what they need to know without all the craziness and stuff. I feel like our society is so complicated, and honestly at this point in time, the complexity of society kind of disgusts me. When my son was younger, I took him to speech therapy. Whether or not I think it actually made a difference, that's a whole nother story, but we'd have to pay and go through insurance and do all this stuff. And I remember one day I asked, how much is it if we don't have insurance? And the price they told me we would have to pay without insurance was less than I was paying with insurance. The care office that we were going to would bill my insurance some exorbitant amount of money, like something crazy. That's not actually how much it costs, because then they had some deal, you know, the insurance company, where then it would be some lower amount of money that they would pay, and then they get a copay from me and all this stuff. And they were making money, but it was just this complicated mess that didn't need to be, and it was all lies. Like, the amount that they were billing that company wasn't how much anything actually cost. It was just, it had gotten so complex that it was, nothing was attached to reality anymore. It wasn't real. And I think that's this whole growing food. I want something real. I want something real. I want food that I grow, and I want to pick it up with my hands, and I want to eat it, and I want it to be real, and it's simple. It grew, I'm eating it, it's real. It's uncomplicated, it is simple. But I will tell you, simple does not mean easy. Growing this food and then trying to preserve it, not as easy as a Pop-Tart. Baking a loaf of sourdough whose ingredients are flour, water, salt, it's more simple than a store-bought loaf of bread, but it's not as easy as just going and buying a store-bought loaf of bread. I'm trying to lean into the work of simplicity, but it is hard. Because, like, even though you know it's better, it does take more work, but I think the results are worth it. I know I shared with you the other day, I tried to get ahead in the kitchen the other day. I made some granola bars that were really actually very good. I was planning on using them in the morning, on mornings that I really just didn't want to get up and cook freaking breakfast. And what happened was the granola bars were too good and everybody ate them. So then they weren't there on the day that I didn't want to cook breakfast. So my husband helped out. He saw a problem and he fixed it. He went to the store and he bought Pop-Tarts and he bought cereal. What is that?
It's a
What is it?
Pop-Tart.
A Pop-Tart! No! I failed you all. I don't know how our ancestors did it. At this point, I'm like, I don't know how you guys did it. How did you grow all your own food and preserve it and homeschool and do so much more and bake bread all the time? We are about to be blessed with a wild abundance of mulberries. We have so many mulberry trees on the property, and they are already, they're turning. It's time. Here, you eat it. Eh? It's good, right? Nice. I'll tell you something. They all have bugs in them, little tiny minuscule bugs. Don't tell people that, but they do. So once these start turning and we put out tarps and like shake the tree and have them all fall on the tarps and stuff like that, I have a plan in place. I'm not gonna immediately start making jam that my children hate. Like, I'll process some, but as stuff gets overwhelming, I'm just gonna throw them in the freezer because I don't wanna be overwhelmed. Once you finish up your coffee, oh my gosh, come back tomorrow because I know what we need to do. There's just been too much going on. We need to get away. Bring some shoes that can get wet and maybe your bathing suit. I think it's gonna be fun. So I'm looking forward to that. So thanks for hanging out with me. See you tomorrow. Did somebody put their finger in this cookie? Somebody put their finger in this cookie. Look at this cookie. You gonna tell me that it was just like that?
I didn't do that.
You didn't put your finger in that?
I did not.
Somebody put their finger in that cookie. I don't even see any finger marks.